Hello and welcome everyone to the end of round 4 of my playthrough of the first mission of Storms of Steel from the Conflict of Heroes series, the playthrough of the courier's satchel, and we've reached the end of round 4, and it turns out it's also the end of the game because there are no German units left on the board. Normally speaking, there might have been another round, but there isn't, as I said, because there are no German units left on the board. The Germans did actually make it to the Soviet headquarters and actually captured the satchel because they played a rapid deployment card which allowed them to move 2 hexes at the same time. And then they moved backwards into the building using 3 caps, one for moving itself, one for moving backwards, and one for moving into the stone building. So all in all, that cost them 3 caps, and they captured the satchel, but then they were spent. Well, maybe they shouldn't have actually been spent because they used caps for it. So I guess I made a mistake there, which might have made a difference, I suppose. But then a couple of Soviet units moved up and dealt with the German unit. As I said, because I moved caps, I don't think I actually should have spent that unit. There was no need to make a spend check because I used caps for it. So that was a mistake, but anyway, it wouldn't have been able to defend itself because it didn't have any caps remaining and it didn't have any... Well, yeah, of course, it could have defended normally. So who knows what might have happened. They probably would have been spent afterwards, and I don't know if they would have survived. I said I would play this one again, but actually I would prefer to try in a different one. I don't think this is... it's an introductory scenario to the series, or at least to the expansion, and I think it's very, very, very difficult for the Germans. I mean, there are various strategies. Obviously, it's not a very good strategy to just, get spent very quickly, especially for those first 2 units if they haven't yet reached the woods. And the Soviets, if they move out of cover, I mean, they might have just as much chance of getting to the woods before the Germans do, unless they have a specific card which will speed up their advance. But anyway, then whatever happens, they're left with 2 units. You could place them over here at the beginning, but despite the terrain and that it looks different from clear terrain, it actually isn't. It might conceal a unit, but this meaning that you could hide a unit, but I didn't play with those rules because they're definitely not meant to be used in an introductory scenario, I suppose. So this is just clear terrain. And then you could just pass and stall, etc., and wait for the other 2 units to arrive, but they would also more or less arrive over here, and they would all be in cover, and the Soviets would probably still be firing from the buildings at them. So I'm not sure if that would make a lot of difference. You know what? I'll just try it out. I'll play the scenario once more. I'm not going to get back to you after each round, but I will get back to you after the scenario is finished. I've also tried, in this particular playthrough to get 2 German units into the woods, which I did, but they got annihilated anyway, and then those other 2 are over there, and they're just, too few to be able to defeat the Soviets. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a nice introductory scenario in the sense that you have just a couple of units, and you learn how to play with infantry units. But, you would like to stand a chance to win as the Germans too. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, you would have to play it many more times. I did play it a few times in the past as well, but that must have been at least 10 years ago. So I'm not sure if that counts. I really don't recall how that went. But anyway, yeah, I guess it would have been nicer if you didn't have to employ lots of fancy tactics in such an introductory scenario. And yeah, that it would be more straightforward as far as that goes. I guess, to balance it out in the sense that I'm not saying it's unbalanced, I haven't played it enough for that, but to make it seem more balanced, it would be more fun probably to add 1 or 2 German units to the mix, and that doesn't necessarily mean all at the same time. Maybe, one in round 3 and I don't know, 1 more at the beginning or something like that. That might make a difference. This way, it seems very, very difficult for the Germans. Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you after the next one.